Silent Evil Podcast. Whatever episode we are on. 5 now? 5, something like that?
5.
The Survival Horror Podcast. And we decided we're going to go back to the lost Resident Evil game. The Resident Evil 1.5, as they so call it nowadays. Which I love how, like, you'll read some articles out there where people believe that, like, 1.5 is like, oh, that's like a game that they were literally going to call it 1.5. It's like, no, they were not going to call it 1.5. That's what it became as time went on. Like, no. You call a game like 1.5 if you went backwards. Like, if you made, like, Resident Evil, like, 3, and then you're like, you know what, we want to add an in-between story between, like, 1 and 2. Then you got 1.5.
Exactly.
And that's where, like, the comic books fill in, or, like, the S.D. Perry books. Like, you know, you got Caliban Cove or something like that. That's Resident Evil 1.5.
Exactly.
You know, if that's what you want for there. But no, this is just, like, the early build of Resident Evil 2, which is just such an interesting story for the fact that Capcom's like, yeah, let's make 80% of a game or so, and then at the last game, you're like, yeah, no, let's go back and do that again.
I know. It's, I don't know. It's cool to know that there was, like, almost a completely different version of Resident Evil 2 originally.
Yeah, it's just so radically different. I remember for the longest time, when I originally heard about this, I think I found it in, like, that archives book. They just had, like, a page there, and they just kind of, like, slipped that into, like, those 400 pages or so, and just kind of like, here's a little, like, something like that. It's like, whoa, what is this 1.5 thing? Like, what is all this, like, goofy stuff? I never heard of any of this, and I tried to search so hard for the longest time to find a ROM of that thing, and it was, like, next to impossible. And then finally, one day, I found this, like, awesome cover that someone made on, like, Etsy, where, like, it makes it look all official with a big box type
awesome.
PlayStation case and everything like that. It even includes Resident Evil 2 demo in there and all sorts of fun stuff. But just being able to finally sit down and play it, it's something really neat, though. Because it blows your mind, just like, oh my gosh, it actually is radically different. Like, yeah, you got Leon. Leon's, you know, your holding on character and so on, but just all these other, you know, plots and stories that they kind of threw in there. And the big one, there's Elza.
It was interesting, to say the least. The thing about Elza is, like, it's like, okay, so they have Elza instead of Claire, so it's like, did they ever even intend on having Claire in the first place?
I don't think so. I think it's one of those ones. I mean, Elza's, at the end of the day, she's pretty much Claire. Like, she doesn't...
Yeah, you know, obviously it's not Chris Redfield's sister, but, I don't know, it's just weird, because, you know, obviously, like, they started the production shortly after Resident Evil 1, you know, they finished Resident Evil 1, so it's just like, you know, obviously they thought about the future, you know, so it's like maybe they did have plans for Claire, but in later games, but I don't know. Yeah. It's just weird, because, I don't know, Claire's become such a huge character in Resident Evil, you know, especially being, like, Chris's sister.
Yeah, well, there's that part, too, where we found where in the morgue, there's, like, Claire's name's written on one of the labels there. But I really feel like that obviously is whoever put pieced that thing back together for the English kind of translation must have put that on there, because it also says Pierre in there, too.
I know, yeah.
So by that standard, I'm like, it's gotta be, there's no way that Capcom put Claire on there. But then again, I don't know, maybe.
Yeah, maybe they're foreshadowing something.
Foreshadowing what there was to come.
But, I don't know, it was cool to see. It was a little rough to play through, just because it's so, you know.
It's rough, but it's really not that bad also at the same time, too.
No, some parts flow pretty well, but then, you know, of course, I mean, I don't know what else you would expect with an unfinished game, you know, of course, some spots are just there.
And this is the one I kind of wonder, too. It's like, okay, Capcom says they stopped at like 80, sometimes even some things say like 90%. So I just kind of wonder, like, what build is this one? You know what I mean? Is there one that's sitting in like Capcom Studios somewhere that's just like actually pretty darn complete?
Yeah, because I think this is supposedly, you know, the leaked build that's been messed with, you know, by people and stuff like that.
This could be literally almost only half the game.
Like, they could have, like, started with, you know, 30-40% of the game and then pieced together up to where we were able to play through. But then, you know, there could be somewhere in Capcom's archives or something.
Yeah, where there's one that's, you know, like, you know, maybe it has some, like, glitches in it, but beyond that, it's almost kind of complete.
Like a flowing game.
Yeah. But even still, it's like, it's just cool to see it. And even, like, that, you know, the Elza character right there, like, what that reminds me of, when you start her off on her, like, mission, she starts off in the police underground area, or the parking lot. And it's really about the exact same thing as what they did. They did in Dead Rising 2. They almost did like an homage, because that character almost feels like he's tied into like Elza. he starts in that underground area at the mall.
Yeah.
You know, he's got the biker suit on. He's a motorcycle rider. They make Elsa. She's designed like that too. Like she just got off of a motocross tournament or something.
Yeah. No, it was I don't know, it was cool because, you know, obviously we started with the Leon, you know, then we ran across the motorcycle, but I didn't really put two and two together that Elsa had crashed the motorcycle through the front of the building, and then you start off with Elsa and you're right next to the motorcycle.
Yeah, and it all kind of comes together.
Yeah. I don't know. It would be cool to see. I'd like to see Capcom somehow piece together something for it. It's cool to see the differences between like the police station and what the police station became.
Yeah, because that part's just, to me, it's like it's radically different. I mean, there's some rooms that like you can tell are kind of similar, but for the most part, you're playing a brand new game.
In Resident Evil 1.5, it definitely looks more like a traditional police station.
Yeah.
Like Resident Evil 2, it definitely looks like, you know, like the police had bought out a building, or Umbrella did, I should say.
Yeah, like kind of the library art house section.
Yeah, or whatever, yeah. Whatever that building was originally intended to be. I'm assuming a library, I think, is...
Well, it makes 1.5 have a darker feel to it, oddly enough, because it's like, compared to, you know, you compare Resident Evil 1 to like 2, and 2 always has like a darker just tone, which I always feel that's kind of interesting in the Resident Evil 1. I always love that kind of like the bright look to everything, because that almost is kind of scary in its own way when it's just like ultra bright, and you're like, why is everything so well lit and stuff here? You know, and then this one, the 1.5 compared to 2, just makes it feel even darker. I think it's because everything's just slabs of gray and blues and like, just a real police station look.
Yeah, and, you know, also, you know, I mean, since it's unfinished, who knows, like, what other colors they would have slapped in certain rooms, you know, what rooms they would have made vibrant, you know, some rooms we ran into and they just didn't even look like they loaded properly, is what it looked like. You know?
Exactly.
So,
like, nobody went in and painted anything on there yet.
Yeah, exactly. You know, everything was white and then like a tan color. But I mean, I don't know. It was cool. The traditional police station look was kind of cool because, you know, obviously there's no like firing range in Resident Evil 2.
Well, yeah, there's so many neat rooms. It's like the firing range, and you know that was set up to be some kind of puzzle because you can pull each one with like the 5.
Yeah, I did read that, you know, everyone suspects that they suspect some sort of puzzle, you know, where you have to do it in a specific order.
Like 2, 2, 3, 1 or something, like something goofy like that or what have you. I'm thinking that it's almost, you know, that's where you would have got like the keys, because you don't pick up any keys in 1.5. You just kind of like are able to use items just magically.
Yeah, we found a couple key cards.
Found a couple key cards. You know, found some found like the wrench and a couple other items that God knows where you use that at. Yeah,
but obviously we didn't really use any of those because we were just able to magically get through doors that needed things and use items we didn't have just because we were just, you know. They probably didn't want you to run in because, you know, they weren't put in the game, so they just automatically unlock those spots. But
I also like how you like bully some of the doors too. Like the doors like, oh, you don't have the right fingerprint scan. Then you say it's like, you want to try again? It's like, yeah, I want to try again. It's like, oh, how about that? It worked this time.
My mistake, sir.
Yeah. Just bully the door to get into where you want. Yeah. But I mean, that's probably just so you can kind of go through it.
Yeah, give it a little bit more continuity.
Yeah, give it a little bit more flow to it. But I think one of the things that is really cool about it, though, is like I love the design of the zombies in this one.
Yeah, they all look.
They got more detail. There's like variation. Like none of the zombies are the same. There's not a single zombie from Resident Evil 2 in this game. They're all completely different.
The first zombie I ran into, I immediately noticed differences. You know, he was fat.
Yeah.
You know, and the uniform looked different. Head looked different. They definitely I like the detail on all the faces actually, you know, and I don't know if that was messed with by fans at all, you know. But
I heard that
I think so.
I read something in there that the reason they had to like tone it back for Resident Evil 2 to play smoother is it's just that old fashioned video game system, like, you know, that you had it kind of like, man, this is gonna be really awesome, and then it's like you go to put it on the PlayStation, like, oh, it's not running as good as we want to. Probably it's one of those weird ones, like if it was a PC only release, you probably could get away with all that stuff, but when you have it going, you're porting it to the PlayStation, and that's your main system at the time, I think you had to tone it down a bit, and I think that's why the zombies, because it's like, you look at this one, it almost feels like, this almost even looks more advanced than Resident Evil 3. It's kind of weird in that sort of way.
I like the face detail and stuff like that. And Leon's face, actually, I was like, whoa! Like, Leon's face looked really good in the 1.5, actually.
Yeah. So they got the details in there, and just like, I feel like there's more gore in this one, too. It's just that one where, like, every zombie, you can blow their legs off, you can blow them in half.
I feel like every zombie I shot with the shotgun, almost like 90% of them got blown in half pretty much.
Yeah, it's almost a little too common.
Yeah.
Where like in Resident Evil 2, it's kind of a surprise when you're like, oh, well, I can blow them in half.
Yeah, and I like, I don't know, and like in this one, obviously, you know, it's an unfinished game, so who knows what it would have been different, but they seem like they fall in half. Like, Resident Evil 2, it was kind of cool because you'd blow them in half, and I feel like, you know, they kind of like the top half would just slowly separate, you know, and they'd be like flailing their arms as they hit the ground, but, you know, that could have been stuff they could have added if they really would have pushed through and finished the game.
Yeah. You can blow their legs off in Resident Evil 2, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah, it was the first game. You can do it in the demo. It's for where I first realized once you get to the basketball courtyard after getting the shotgun in the gun shop is where I first realized
You
that.
can blow their legs off.
Yeah.
And blow them in half. And
Yeah.
you can't blow their heads off for some reason if you point the shotgun up in this one, which pretty much is. I think everybody who probably plays it goes to do that and then realizes it's too late once you fire that shot off.
That was me. Yeah, I like pointed up. Luckily, I was able to save myself because I pointed up. I was like, I kind of half expected it not to work.
Yeah.
So I kind of like pointed up and then immediately just pointed down and just shot him, but he split in half, of course. But I don't know. It's cool. The zombie details are cool. The detail on Leon's uniform as we progressed further through and, you know, went to other spots and jumped to other spots was cool.
He's got kind of like these like scratches going across there.
Yeah,
like, like obviously probably in the beginning he must have been attacked by something like in his opening.
At first, you know, there's a little bit of blood, you know, and then it's like a scratch, and then, you know, we like
starts
got further
around
on.
his shoulder.
Yeah, you know, and then there's blood on the shoulder and stuff like that, you know. So that was it's just cool to see that crap.
Kind of, yeah. I like those little like progression things.
That's
like
one of those things though, because that seems more advanced than Resident Evil stuff in Resident Evil 3 even.
Yeah, there's none of that stuff in there. I'm trying to think. Does it do stuff like that in Resident Evil 4? No, it doesn't do stuff like that. He just takes his jacket. He takes his jacket off at some point. That's it. Yeah. No.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, I was just saying. No. It's always kind of a cool feature.
But see, I wonder if that's something that they were just like, you know, messing around with at the time, you know, and then.
Yeah.
You know, maybe that's something that just got too complicated later on, so they just kind of scrapped it with the later Resident Evils to help the game run smoother.
I think that's always what it comes down to. I think it's like you try things out, and you're like, man, this would be so cool, and then at that time period, you got to kind of like compensate. Where like nowadays in a video game, you can pretty much do anything you want, but sometimes I always kind of wonder, I'm like, does that always make for better games? I think there's something to always be said about the limited, like if you're kind of limited, you almost have to like think out harder, and then almost in that limited kind of sense, you might get really cool styles that you would normally never get if you have all the choices in your handbook.
But the flip side to the whole like uniform progression thing, you know, and like the continuing blood is that, you know, in Resident Evil 2 you do start limping.
Yeah, you don't have any of that. Like you got this is old school Resident Evil.
You got to check your menu, but you know, in Resident Evil 2, so I wonder if that's how they kind of like, you know, instead, you know, they had to take that out, but they're like, but we can implement this instead, you know, but the game will still run just as smooth with this instead of this, you know, so.
Oh, I didn't think about it. You mean, like, are you saying that, like, almost like you have the damage on your suit? Is that what you think that more was? Or is that just progression through the game?
No, like, that was, like, progression through the game, you know, but I'm thinking that maybe, like, the developers were like, you know, yeah, for some reason this is making the game run not so smooth. But, you know, maybe we can do this with, like, you know, your health. Yeah. That would not affect how smooth the game would run. So instead of, you know, with this, they just, you know, went with this lesser thing. Where it didn't go with the game progression necessarily, but, you know, it kind of helped you.
Yeah, I
check your health instead, but...
Yeah, for a second, I was thinking, I'm like, oh, that would be kind of an interesting way, too. It's almost you can see the damage on Leon, the more, like, you
see, that would be cool, but it would be, too, you know, that would definitely affect, like, the way the game would run, because when you would heal, it would have to, like, reset itself, you know, and then get damaged again at that point, but... No, that would definitely be really cool.
I'm like, that's kind of a cool feature in itself, too, just as you literally get more battle damage as time goes on.
But also... with the way the story went, because I didn't really notice any of that on Elsa's side, but Elsa's side seemed a lot less finished.
Yeah, she didn't have I don't think she had any of the damage on her.
But with the way the story ended up going in Resident Evil 2, with Leon ended up getting shot, jumping in the way of the bullet and stuff like that, you know, it kind of like, you know, they probably planned on that too, you know, and they kind of stuck that in instead of also having this as well, you know, so they kind of like tried to even it out on the other side because they couldn't put that in maybe, but who knows.
That could be sort of it as well too.
It's all speculation, of course.
It really is. That's all Resident Evil is. But the cool thing too, I think more than anything else in this game, that almost like the biggest takeaway is those two new enemies.
Dude, the two new enemies.
Two new enemies in there, and it's like they're those enemies are so cool that it's almost like, why is that not in other games?
Yeah, the Chimera Spider was cool, but like you said, like the Resident Evil 3, like with those other creatures in Resident Evil 3, they're kind of similar, you know. They kind of like have like some sort of exoskeleton looking thing, and they're more like a spider insect kind of.
I mean, these things are literally full on like half spider, half chimera.
Exactly.
Cool. And they, when they pop up off the ground, and they're kind of like, they crawl like a spider, and all of a sudden they pop up, and then they got the arms like the chimera coming at you. It really almost kind of reminded me of Resident Evil 5 when you fight those chimera things that can kill you in one hit.
The legs and the head even look like spider legs and head almost, you know, and it's like the legs were kind of like rounded. They weren't like, you know, sharp like chimera claws, you know, but they were kind of like rounded and looked kind of furry, almost like a spider legs. So it definitely looked half spider for sure.
Plus, there was a bunch of spiders in that game, too. There was almost like more spiders in that game than 1.5 that I saw in any other Resident Evil.
I know, seriously.
There was rooms just dedicated to spiders and nothing else.
Like I said, I think the only game that might rival it is Resident Evil 3, but I think there were more in 1.5 than 3 even, so...
Plus, they come through the ventilation shafts, too. I never seen a spider come through the ventilation shaft
I know,
before.
it was cool, because that's where I would expect spiders to come from.
Yeah!
The dogs came through the ventilation shaft. I was like, whoa!
That was awesome too. The dogs also had a bunch of more detail on them too, which is kind of. I mean, they had like it was like they had different. The dogs were different. They weren't all the same too. I noticed.
I kind of like I don't know. See, like with this one, they kind of like went. It seemed like they went more with like a rotted dog. The dogs like seemed like they didn't have any skin. It was all muscle, you know. Whereas like Resident Evil 2, you know, like 1 even, you know, the dogs like some of the ribs are showing, you know, but some you know, like 75% of the dog is intact, but you can definitely tell they're rotting.
Well, there was that one dog, I remember we got that nice camera angle on it. It's like its head was still like normal, and then the rest of it kind of like peeled off by the neck, and it was kind of like, that's cool looking.
Yeah, I know.
And then there was a couple other dogs that had like different like crazy looking eyes and everything, and I was just like, oh, that extra little detail.
Yeah, I know. And some of the zombie, you know, like just goes back to like how some of the zombies look like. Some of the faces, you know, some of the eyes were like red, and you could like see like scratch marks and scars. And, you know, just like crap around the face and stuff like that. But
and then they had like the lab zombies and everything that kind of. I don't think they even have lab zombies in 2. They just have them in, you know, they're almost like advanced versions of like the lab zombies in 1.
See, yeah, I wonder if putting in all the different zombies and didn't work out like they thought it would, you know. So
I think
they had to like scale it back and only go with like 3 or 4 different models.
Like, yeah, because that's the thing about Resident Evil 2. It only has about 5 zombies in it or something. You got like the guy with the yellow shirt, the woman, one woman. You got the police officer. You got there's pretty much like 3. I feel like there's like 3 casual zombies,
naked zombies in the end.
Yeah, naked zombies, and then like 2 police officer zombies maybe. I could be wrong. There could be a couple more than that, but. For the most part, that's about it. Maybe slight variation.
There seemed a lot more, you know, and like they were going for a lot more variation originally, you know, but
that's
for some reason
I remember
like
3 just blew me away. It's like, oh my god, there's so many different zombies like in this one.
3 was awesome with that, dude. That's
so
one
many
of the best parts, yeah. And but dude, the gorilla creature.
The gorilla creature, that creature right there, I think the Chimera Spider is cool, but this gorilla creature is like, why is this not in the game?
Luckily, you know, that started us out with like so much goddamn ammo, you know, but it's the gorilla creatures. I could see fighting those 2 in the garage that took more ammo.
You probably only had the pistol and the shotgun if the game was like a full-on, you know, regular game there.
Yeah.
And they come busting out like the area that you go move the van with Ada and 2, but it's a little bit different looking inside there, and you find Ada there, and then all of a sudden these gorilla creatures bust out, and they remind me of like the things on Silent Hill 1. When you get to like the second area of the town and you kind of go by the police station area, and there's like the scary like monkey creatures that jump on you, pretty much the rapist things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no.
The things I remember I read like somewhere I remember I read something that was supposed to like it's talking about all the Silent Hill enemies in that one, and kind of going like somebody like thought really hard into this because I don't remember seeing it in the game, but they're like every enemy represents like your daughter's. Like the people that she kind of like disliked or stuff like that, like this, you know, the doctors and the nurses that tested on her, the evil school children that bullied her, you know. And then they got to those things. I think they're called like rompers or something like that. They're like the rompers were like, you know, the men that like molested her. So I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
what is that part of the game?
Isn't there's an enemy in Silent Hill 2? Maybe they're in. No, I don't think they're in 1, but I think it's 2, maybe 3. I don't remember, but they have like big ass arms. And they kind of like run like gorillas. Do you know what I'm talking about?
That's I know they're in 3. They might be in 2 as well.
Okay, yeah, I think they're in 2. But yeah, the gorillas in 1.5 kind of remind me of like a cross of those ones you were talking about from 1, and then these ones, But,
yeah, and I mean, like, the romper things, wherever the heck they are in Silent Hill, I almost said Silent Evil. Silent Hill, like, those things are like, I remember that's like the first enemy that's like super scary in that game, because it's like, or like that you have more fear for than anything else, because it's like, everything else like might attack you or something like that, but those things full on jump you.
Yeah.
And literally rape you on the ground.
Yeah, no,
And then, these gorilla things, it's like, they're not even like the monkeys that are in Zero, because, those ones are small, and those are an awesome enemy anyways, but these things are just massively huge and, like, about 3 times the size of Leon, if not bigger.
Big enough to knock that big-ass door off that big-ass truck.
Yeah, so I was just like, oh god, I don't even, like, that's one of those fears, like, if you only had the pistol there, I don't know what you would do.
Dude, a lot of the characters, the differences with the characters in this one as opposed to 2 with, like, Marvin.
I love how Marvin survives just the whole way through.
I know, he's like your sidekick through the whole game, and then you got Ada, who's kind of the same, but, she's a scientist instead of, like, some sort of espionage specialist
and who knows,
spy.
She might be more going towards the espionage. I don't know, maybe it's going more with, like, the John Ada's, like, because, it's almost like the original relationship thing is like, oh, it's just like, when you read it in 1, which you don't really, you're like, whoever this John Ada person is, But, like, it's also one of those ones, like, maybe there's actually a relationship there, and she's like, oh, my husband was working there, and now I'm trying to come back. When the other one's like, no, I just kind of fooled that guy just to get information for Wesker.
Dude, I didn't really put 2 and 2 together that the John we ran into might be Ada's John.
Oh, I don't know, because I always thought that he was supposed to be a scientist.
Oh, yeah.
And he's older. Because the other guys... No, because that John was
oh, yeah, Roy's brother, duh.
And that was the one that they called...
or maybe Roy's brother. But...
Yeah, no, not... Cause for some reason, that translation, I don't know why they're calling Kendo John instead of calling him Robert. Kendo, or whatever his name is.
Yeah, Robert was the older brother. Joe Kendo was the one who took over the shop when Robert died, I think.
Okay, so Joe. So they just call him John instead of Joe for some reason, that translation.
Yeah, but the character model is still the exact
same.
A little less bloody, because he's got blood on him when you find him in the gun shop in Resident Evil 2, but I don't know. And then, obviously you have John and Roy.
Yeah.
Roy was the zombie transformation with Roy, even though, you didn't get to, like, see it kind of, like, face-to-face like you did with Marvin in 2, but the zombie transformation was kind of cool. Him coming at his brother having to put him down.
Yeah, well, the cool thing, too, is it reminded me, like, almost like you only read about it, like, in the files in the game. Sort of like in the classic, Itchy Tasty one. Like, it's almost like as, like, the guys progressively get there and so on. They're like, oh, I'm starting to limp around, so on. That's how it sort of felt. He's like, oh, I feel weird. Something's happening. You gotta take me out. And he just starts, like, limping over towards him. It's like, I've never seen that before in a Resident Evil. It's like, that's awesome.
I know, like in, Resident Evil 2, Martin, I think Martin's face, or Martin.
Martin.
I think of, like, Pulp Fiction. Oh, shit. But,
like, no, like, well, that's always a cool one, too, is in Resident Evil 2, because you see him just full on change his face and so on. But I love how Marvin stays around this whole time. He's just there to help out, and he does get bitten at some point, or something happens to him. I don't feel like we ever saw that cutscene. Just all of a sudden, he's like, oh, yeah, by the way, I forgot to tell you. Now that we're in this, like, trapped room together, I might as well let you in on what happened.
I know. Dude, no, but with the Marvin, in Resident Evil 2, he just kind of, like, his face kind of changes a little bit, and then he gets up, and then you just shoot him.
Yeah, and this was kind of cool, because, like, the Roy guy and the Elza one, like, he's talking as he's sort of he's transforming and so on, and then, of course, Kendo comes in and just blasts him. He's like, he was my brother!
I know.
Or friend, or whatever relation we had.
You could tell.
He was my gay lover!
You could tell that there was some sort of relationship there, but, I mean, it kind of looked like they could have been brothers,
Yeah,
so.
I don't know. Either that or he's just...
that
was, like, his best seller at the gun store.
Yeah. He's like, dude, you came in all the time. Don't you recognize me?
Yeah, it's like they had such a good, like, customer, like, seller relationship there.
Oh, man. But, yeah, and then Sherry's exactly the same.
Really, that's customer service. Dude, if the store owner comes to save you during the zombie apocalypse.
I gotta go save my best customer.
When this is over, he's the one I gotta have left.
Well, I guess he would know that he sold them a bunch of guns.
Yeah, exactly.
I gotta go find that asshole.
Yeah, exactly. I remember I read something, I don't know if it was supposed to be in Resident Evil 1.5 or 2, but, like, that, like, there was almost going to be at one point like you could go to Kendo and just get like the you could buy your guns from him and so on like that, like have assist. Probably I assume something like this sounds weird, but like Dino Crisis 2. You know how you sit down when you go to a computer and I don't know what happens. The computer just literally like makes you guns and sends them out to you. I don't really
like the Mercenary in 4.
Yeah, exactly like the Mercenary 4. I like how I went to Dino Crisis 2.
I thought you were going to go to Resident Evil 4 and then you went to Dino Crisis. I was like, well, that works too, but...
yeah, I don't know why I went that. Yeah, the Resident Evil 4 one makes, like 100 times more sense.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I mean, but obviously you'd
really have to change the system around.
Cause you'd have to have him in some sort of central hub somewhere.
He'd probably be like one of those ones. Yeah, you'd probably have like save rooms, but maybe he would be appearing there or something weird like that.
Yeah, just all of a sudden. But I don't know.
That would change a lot of the dynamic if you had to. Well, let me go buy some more guns.
All the character differences were cool, though. It was just cool to see what they were originally thinking. Although, again, we only know so much about these characters. From everything I can tell, I definitely like where they went with 2, how 2 actually became. But,
these are ones.
Stuff was,
it'd be cool if they just they did some special features in like the remake of Resident Evil 2, where you just had like. Almost like Ada in her original costume. Sort of the same way that they did it in the Resident Evil 0, the HD one, how you could get Rebecca in her N64 costume.
Yeah.
I thought that, features like that to me are always like, that's so cool. Like, if I could play Resident Evil 0 the whole way through with, Rebecca in the original costume, like the game that we thought we were going to get in the 90s, that's so neat. It'd be interesting to see Ada just in her scientist costume, you know what I mean? With her weird, like safari shorts on.
Yeah, I know. God, the way she was dressed was just so weird.
The lab coat wasn't weird, but it was just like the safari shorts. Was like, I picture if you had, I don't know, I guess if she had more like almost a skirt on, sort of like Resident Evil 2, or I'll use this is a weird one. Like in Resident Evil 3, how you can get the STARS uniform for Jill, where she's got the skirt.
Oh yeah.
It's like the variation of one, but instead of having pants, she has a skirt like that. Would probably look better on Ada than the weird safari.
I don't think I do. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say it's probably not lab protocol to have halfway down your thigh shorts on in a laboratory.
Yeah,
at least a skirt. Usually like if you see like a lab skirt, they go down to the knees, and they cover the legs and stuff. But
and they're like weird kind of like I don't know like 90s mom shorts. They're like baggy and like she's hanging out at the beach or something, Raccoon City. I don't know.
Oh, dude, and then. One of the big differences was how William Birkin looks.
He looks really cool in this one, actually.
He looks more human.
Yeah. Almost...
He definitely... I mean, at first he was, more human looking, but not because he got the eye, and he looked a lot more mutated with, the faces and stuff, but it's just in the giant claw. But in this one, he had, one claw.
Yeah, just one singular claw, which is just kind of neat look. I mean, I'll say probably the Resident Evil 2 one is kind of the cooler look, but it's one of those ones, I guess whenever you see something different, there's always something special that's like, oh, that's kind of cool in a different way.
Resident Evil 2 one was definitely way better. It's just the virus just made him look more mutated, and then, but in this one, you could, see, his face, more and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Well, the first time you run into him, you can see him. He still has, hair and a face and stuff
he still does in the first form.
But I'm pretty sure he has the eye at that point. That's where it first shows up, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
But that part, and I don't know. It was just cool to see how different they were thinking to have him look. But I'm glad they went with the more mutation,
Yeah, and probably in this one, you probably would have mutated more the farther you see, because you really only get that one boss battle in the 1.5 with William Birkin, where he also can do massive damage.
Yeah, yeah. With the one overhead gorilla swing.
Yeah, the big old swing when you're on the ground. Because I don't think there's any enemies. Is there enemies in Resident Evil 2 that can hit you while you're on the ground? I know in 3 there is, because Nemesis can pick you up. But I think, if you fall on the... Well, let's just say, you don't even fall on the ground, I guess, on 2. Does anything knock you over on the ground and, you have to get back up?
I think William Birkin can with a claw swipe, and especially in the train fight, I think he can.
Does he? I always thought you just did the thing where you slide and you kind of, cover yourself, on your knees.
Maybe.
The other thing I noticed, too, speaking of... I don't know why knees remind me. But, I noticed when you go to smash the head with Leon, when the zombies are on the ground, he, literally, the zombie grabs him, he falls to his knee, which almost seems like a more, realistic way to do it, because, they're grabbing your feet, so instead you use your knee to smash their head. I'm like, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, I know. Claire kicks him in the face?
Claire kicks their head off.
Yeah.
And Leon stomps him in two. I don't even know.
I like it in 3 because Jill gets grabbed and she like wiggles, and then I think she like breaks free and then kicks him in the head.
Yeah.
Is how it goes in 3, I think.
And it goes flying. It's similar to Claire's, I guess. Can it grab you in 1 on the ground?
I think so.
I know in the remake, obviously, but I'm trying to think in 1. No. Now it's all the little differences I'm going.
I know. I don't think the head goes flying in 3, I don't think. I think it just kicks them in the face and they die.
Maybe, because I want to say 2, the head goes
2,
flying.
the head
because I know that, like, 3 is kind of weird. They almost, like, slightly censor it a little bit more. Like, you can't blow zombies in half in that game. You can't rip their arm off.
No.
Because that was always a cool feature, 2 and 2, is, like, when they grab you, sometimes every once in a while you'll rip their arm off.
Yeah, and then, obviously, the head, you can still blow their heads off in 3.
In 1.5, there was a weird... I don't know if it was a glitch or it was supposed to be like this, but there's a part where, like, sometimes you'll blow a zombie's head off, and then all of a sudden it's like, he'll fall on the ground, and then he'll get back up again, which
Dude,
I feel
that was
like
so crazy.
So creepy, almost like that. He'll get back up, take about 2 steps, and fall over. And I don't know if that's... Because I don't think it's like... That's... Some people might say that's like a glitch. I feel like that's more just like, oh, he just has a couple more movements in him just to kind of give you that extra little bit of scare. Like, oh, God, he's actually... Oh, okay.
That one you blew its head off, and it, like, went down. And then got back up and followed you for a while.
Yeah, went for a handful of steps. I was even able to shoot it again, too.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know what's happening right now.
Yeah. So I don't know what that was about, but I think that was kind of a cool... Just that extra kind of scare feature.
I know. Well, scared the shit out of me. I've never seen anything like that.
Never seen that before. It's just ridiculous.
But no, the game was definitely really cool to check out and see all the...
And then really the thing that's like, she's in it, of course, and she's pretty much identical. She looks just like Sherry does in 2.
She's pretty much the only character that has no difference.
She's got like different movement patterns. She stands there and she puts her hands behind her back and kind of rocks back and forth. So she looks like she's up to no good. Yeah. She just looks like a mischievous child running around this like police station. And even so, when you get to a computer and everyone's like, oh crap, we can't use the elevator and whatnot. Sherry's like, I know the code. It's like, of course you know the code.
And then she stands there and sways over.
Yeah, sways. Like,
are you going to fucking tell us?
Yeah, you just going to lead us to your dad? Is that what's going on here? He's like, I love my father.
Oh, man. But no, it was... Sherry's pretty much the only one that didn't change other than a few subtle differences, but...
Yeah, I mean, she's still Sherry running around. I mean, you don't get to play as her in any part of the game. One thing that's kind of cool, though, is I like how Leon sees Sherry in his campaign. Like, he just sees a girl and she just kind of goes on it. It's like, what the heck? I mean, it never came back around, I know that. We never ran, other than the train at the very end, but we never saw Sherry past that point. You know what I mean? But I thought it was still kind of interesting because in Resident Evil 2, you never see Sherry until the very end.
Yeah, until you meet Claire, and then Claire's like, oh yeah, this is Sherry.
By the way, go get that girl I left in the room.
Yeah.
I ain't carrying her. So I think that's kind of cool how that is, which makes me kind of wonder. We didn't see it as Elsa, but I wonder if Elsa sees Ada at points. Or would have.
And then Annette was in it. She seems like she's pretty much the same, even though we didn't get any dialogue.
No, for some reason, I don't know what it is. Somebody decided to be nice and translate like mostly all the game until the very last, God knows what cutscene or whatever you want to call it. Like, it wasn't really a cutscene, but more like the last talking scene when you're in the train and it's just kind of where it ends
nothing.
At. There's nothing yet. There's like, obviously something's happening. There's this long dialogue going on, and I have no idea what's going on here. But it's kind of weird because you get to the train and pretty much everybody's there. You know, I think it's different on each one, and Elsa is different than Leon. For the most part, it's like we either have Leon and Sherry was there. Where Elsa wasn't there, but Sherry was there.
Marvin was there.
Kendo wasn't there.
No, he was, right?
Not in the Leon one, I don't think. Because I think there was just Sherry and Marvin, and then Annette was up in the train control center.
No, because I think Kendo was there, because didn't we run out and then we role-played what he would say to Kendo?
Oh, that's right, yeah. That's right, because we were thinking that, because we went there, got no dialogue.
So we were trying to put in our own dialogue.
We're like, oh god, Annette's going out. Now she's dating Kendo, but now she's having this awkward moment with Leon as he comes in there.
I know, they're just staring at each other. Leon wants to talk about it. And that's like, no. Because
they're just standing there, just like this, like long pause, not really making eye contact. Like
what we did was wrong.
Yeah, you can't let Kendo know. He's a good man, damn it. He's got a real business. Unlike that William guy I had a fling with at one point.
And then you come out and first cutscenes with Kendo.
Exactly. And then there's Uncle Marvin stand there who like I like that
What are
part
you
too.
up
And
to?
he's like, go get the vaccine for me, and then we come back to him, and then he's first laying in bed there in that section that you always drop either Ada off or Sherry in Resident Evil 2, and that room looks about the same. Just missing some of the posters. That's about it. Like they'll have maybe Marvin puts up all the pictures of all the the ladies
lab
up
looked
there.
a lot the same.
Yeah, but I just when we come back to Marvin and he's standing up and he's just like walking, he's like floating. He's like, I died because you didn't give me the vaccine, and now I'm a ghost here to haunt this room.
God damn it!
Just floating around, just walking like, ugh.
But yeah, no. So Kendo was there, Marvin, Sherry.
Yeah, and then I think on Elza, it was Kendo was there, Marvin was there, Sherry was everybody but Leon was there. No, Annette wasn't there either.
Oh yeah,
It's kind of weird
because Sherry
goes up and like, I can drive the train. It's like,
yeah,
but it's like, why do you seem to know so much about this lab, Sherry? I mean, I know your dad owns it, but still.
I know. Like, let's go see my daddy.
Yeah, he wants to meet you. It'd be interesting to make Sherry almost like you think it's like you think she's a really like good like, oh, I gotta save this kid, but at the very end it's like, no, she's just actually leading you towards her dad. Yeah, like that would have been kind of an interesting.
Like she has some
twist.
Sort of dark, weird loyalty.
She's like, I love my father,
even though he's
like a monster. He's got like that almost like the. Kind of like the Frankenstein creature, where like in in the old Frankenstein when he finds that little girl that he accidentally kills, but like he first has this moment with her or whatever. They're like, oh, we're best friends and so on, like that kind of like relationship. Like there's my daddy, and she's like leading her around or whatnot, and
yeah,
like William Burkett still has that little bit of love for his daughter left that keeps it. He'll kill everything else, but he doesn't kill her. Like that would have been an interesting twist in Resident Evil 2.
I know, it would have been kind of crazy, but I mean, I don't know But I don't know. See, it seems like they secured the beginning, and then secured like some of the middle, and then secured enough for like the ending, and then that's where they kind of stopped, and then they plugged in a bunch of things, because like you said, we warped to the end, and all of a sudden everyone's there. So it seems like they secured like what would be the ending, and what they wanted to start the ending.
Yeah, because it feels like it's kind of piecemealed together.
They found like a midpoint.
It's weird because the sewer part was like super short. There's literally the sewer was like generally one room and a couple other like extended rooms.
Exactly. See, that seemed like more bridges to get through the middle, and then they were gonna like put in like bigger areas into those spots. But they like they at least wanted the beginning where with like Leon you start on the roof, Elsa you start out with your crashed motorcycle, so they got the beginning like locked down and they got the ending locked down. Then they were piecing together middles, and then just stopped.
Yeah, exactly. But in case you kind of wonder, like, I wonder if they're going to expand on the sewer or they're just going to kind of keep it.
I feel like they would have expanded on it
because there was that alligator room that like you could go to, and you could drain the water, which took like literally.
There were like two or three doors that were just there that we couldn't even go into.
Yeah, and then there was a bunch of spider tunnels.
Like, and who knows where those doors would have ended up leading?
Yeah, so it could have been a much bigger sewer section.
I am bummed we didn't like run into like the alligator.
I know.
Through the 1.5.
Just a bunch of just more spiders.
Yep.
More spiders. So I was wondering because it's like it seemed like such a cool area they're gonna have it. You drain this giant pool and then you climb down the ladder down there. I'm like, oh dude, I just imagine like the alligator would have came out and then you would have had a fight and maybe run around that square down below there in the pool section.
Yeah.
And
the alligator come out. You take my water, bitch.
Yeah, exactly. He's pissed off now.
Yeah, but
because we couldn't even go down that hall where we ran into mysterious water down there, but there was almost you climbed up and you could go across, and it's like, oh, where are we gonna go?
I want to say that I read that in the original leaked version before the fans started messing with it, the pool didn't drain. That was added by the fans to allow
it might have been because I think it's one of those ones. There's the 40% version that was sort of leaked. At Capcom though, that's what we got. We should break into Capcom. Like that movie Fanboys where they break in to see Star Wars early? We should do this we should go to Japan and break into Capcom and find that Resident Evil, the original 1.5, which is probably labeled 2, I bet you if you went over there. Do not expect it to be labeled 1.5.
Yeah. Obviously, too, we ran into that one puzzle where it asked us if we wanted to press the switch, but it gave us no yes or no option.
Oh, yeah, like in the police station.
It's like the beginning.
There was almost 6 portraits that you can look at 2 of them, and then the rest of them it just talks to you. Or I don't know if you can look at 2. Maybe go and look at 1. But there's 6 paintings, and it's probably going to be kind of like the one in Resident Evil with the crows in the original game. Yeah. Where you had a match, whatever. Life, death, crows.
Yeah. And then you go up, and then it gives you the description of the painting.
Yeah.
And it's like, there's a switch underneath. Would you like to push it?
Yeah, it's just like,
But then there's no yes or no.
And you can't even bully this painting into like...
I know. This painting was strong.
Yeah, it wasn't like that electronic locked door that you can bully.
I know, just folded under pressure.
Yeah, it's just like, it's a great security we got here in like the police station. The one thing that's kind of cool though is I like how big the police station is.
Yeah.
Because it's like, there's just so much kind of going on there. And there's all kinds of neat rooms in there. There's like, there's that big old sector where they got like the conference room that you can like walk on the table, which makes it feel like almost like some kind of weird Alice in Wonderland section.
Yeah.
I feel like that's not really part of it, but it kind of gives that feel. Which, I think about that, because the game's got a little bit of that kind of clipping and where like you can kind of like run through objects and so on, which makes you think about like when a Resident Evil game with the pre-rendered backgrounds is put together, or any game that has that style. How much that, because you really at the end of the day, you think about it, you're taking a picture. It's not like it's 3D. It's literally just like a picture, a flat picture, and then you're trying to make a 3D character run through that flat picture by setting it up and
giving it
parameters and how like it almost gives you kind of like there's something to be said about probably how dialing that in is not as easy as it kind of might look compared to.
I know, you take it for granted because you don't realize until you play a game like 1.5 that's not finished.
Yeah. And it's just kind of cool just to see all that stuff in there and just kind of go through it. But you know what? Actually, this sounds weird. You know what the 1.5 police station reminds me of, though? Is Dino Crisis 1. That has a very similar look to it, like the same color scheme and everything. Like the first section you're at when you land on the island.
Yeah. No, I agree. It's a game I haven't played for so long.
So good. So good.
I want to play it again.
Last time I had that like ginormous survival. Before we decided to make a podcast, and I had like that massive... Like, it started with, like, when Code Veronica came out on PS4. It's like, why not own another copy of Code Veronica?
Yeah.
You can never own too many copies of Code Veronica. Yeah, I think I got 6 of them, or something like that. 5 or 6. The only one I'm missing is the GameCube one, oddly enough. I don't know why, but that's the only one I don't have. But I was playing Code Veronica on PS4, and that just set it off. I'm like, you know what? Let's just go down the rabbit hole. And I went through Dino Crisis 1 and 2 again. I went through Silent Hill 1 through 4. I played somewhere. Maybe I played Resident Evil 3 or something. I remember I played like 15 of them, like in like a Christmas time period or a winter time period. And God, Dino Crisis is always so good. But yeah, that first sector of Dino Crisis kind of has a similar look to the police station.
Yeah, no, I agree.
And then I also like how you find Chief Irons in there, just like laying on the couch, like, oh, what are you doing, kid?
Yeah, and you can tell that Irons is supposed to be like a helpful, good guy in this one, as opposed to like an Umbrella paid-off employee. And
he's not doing the thing where he's like, they told me to watch over the STARS members, and then once the town got infected, I thought I took it in my own hands to go kill him. I saw Bob's eyes as I slowly murdered him. And then I bought a painting of it to commemorate my day. And I'm going to stuff this lady in the most goofiest position. You think it's going to be a sexual position. It isn't going to be. It's going to be something stupid.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it was cool. It was cool to play through 1.5, dude. It was cool to see the difference between that and 2. Again.
I like how we just left Chief Irons in like the police station. God knows what happened to him there.
Yeah, I know. Right.
Whatever, he's just there. I felt like there's something important that, like, because that's the one thing that kind of throws you off when you play 1.5 is, like, Resident Evil generally, like, there's pretty much never such thing as a wasted room. I mean, probably in every Resident Evil game there might be, like, that 1 or 2 rooms that, like, will have, like, handgun bullets or something, or a red herb, and that'll be it. And you feel like that can't be it, but there's mostly always at least ammo, health, or a key item in every room.
Or a file.
Or a file. You know what I mean? There's never just, like, a room for no reason. There's some rooms where it's like, oh, that could have been... I had to kill 3 guys to get, like, 1 clip of ammo. Like, that wasn't worth it.
Yeah.
There's a couple of those rooms, but, so it kind of throws you off in this one, because it's like your Resident Evil senses tell you you've got to find something in every single room, and it's like, well, that's not necessarily the case here.
Yeah. But...
Though, it's kind of interesting that when you do get to the lab, though, how similar that is to Resident Evil. I mean, it's got it's
almost exact.
It's almost the same, and it's got the weird thing is, like, in that main computer area, where, you kind of run past and it's got the screens up there. That's the one where, like, Claire or Leon calls each other. They have 2 elevator shafts in there. That's the thing that's kind of interesting. And I feel like those elevator shafts sort of connect to, like, the central room where Ada falls into. That's the best way I can describe it. Whatever you call that room. That one.
Minus it being smaller. Yeah, the lab looked almost exactly the same.
Yeah, it's smaller, but then it has like some extra rooms in it too.
Yeah, exactly. They're just not, as many rooms, but there are other rooms, but...
And you can't, for some reason, it's a little bit less connected at that point. You almost have to start using the warp system.
Yeah, because we started hitting those... You would go to doors and they would just take you back to the same elevator. Like multiple doors led to one elevator.
Well, I had this feeling like it reminded me like almost like something like an Eternal Darkness, where like you would go through a door and you didn't really know where you were going to appear at or something.
Yeah,
like psychological horror, all thrown in there. And then we found like the moth room, and I remember it's like, oh, I wonder if they're gonna have the moth in there. So like, nope, it's just a normal room, all set up with some computer. It's all nice before the moth showed up.
Yeah, right. Nested in there.
Yeah, like made its home there. But the other kind of cool thing too is in that lab is obviously something happens, but like when you kind of have to probably like escape and probably the 5-minute time.
Oh, with the fire?
And the fire, it's all filled with fire in it and something like that. Which all you're wondering is like, what the hell happened here?
All the zombies are on fire and shit.
Yeah.
But
then you start running into more of those chimera spider things and so on.
Yeah.
No plants though. There's no plants or anything.
Yeah.
They just have the dogs, the crows, chimera spiders, the spiders, Birkin, and then the 8 things in this one.
Yeah, I did enjoy playing through it though. It was cool.
Oh yeah, it is one of those ones like
out.
It's really like if anybody wants that extra Resident Evil, like the original kind of, especially 1, 2, and 3 experience, like this one right here, like will give you like almost the experience of like a game. I mean, like granted, it's not 100%.
Don't go into it expecting smooth. Don't go into it expecting doors to lead places. There's lots of dead ends and rooms that do nothing and doors that you can't open that you should be able to open. But
for the most part, it's more complete than you'd also think.
If you're a Resident Evil fan, it's cool to check out.
Yeah, it's beyond. I'll just say it's beyond a demo. That's what I mean. It's like and it's still like, I mean, my God, and just playing through it, because we first were like, maybe we should look up a guide just to see if, if we get stuck, at least we won't, because, it's not like as, it doesn't explain stuff as much. You don't find necessarily files anywhere or so on. But then it was like, oh, okay, there's absolutely nobody has a guide on here.
Yeah,
well, that's nice to know. So we just kind of like plowed through it ourselves, and it probably took about like a little over an hour to get the Leon one. Then like by that point, the Elza one was a little bit easier to kind of go through second.
Yeah, Elza's was definitely less finished, so it was less stuff to do.
Yeah, it was interesting because of also we found like one typewriter in there, which is kind of weird. 'Cause it's got a load menu at the beginning, but obviously you can't save. But
the item boxes were different too.
The other thing, yeah, because it's got those weird looking, like futuristic looking item boxes, which is, I'm assuming that's what they would have been. We never could have clicked on them, so you got to be careful when you pick up items in this game.
They were just
you're really stuck with those items.
Yeah.
But I was gonna say
the one typewriter.
There was the one typewriter, but then there was a computer that said you could save on it too. So it must have been you could probably, once you put the power back on, you could save on computers
and
in that
stop
game
using
too.
ink ribbons, maybe, or something.
Maybe
like
that was probably it. Probably was like free saves when you had the computer section,
yeah.
where like the ink ribbons you would have needed it, which is kind of an interesting theory.
Like
that
maybe you get like 65% through the game, and they reward you getting that far by allowing you to ditch the ink ribbons and go saving on computers.
That they might have had something too that like when you're playing the game, like and you're going for like completion, it probably be like you probably would get maybe docked if you used the computer one, but if you use the ink ribbons, you'd be fine. Kind of like that weird thing.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then we also found a first aid spray that was a poison one. It was a vaccine.
Oh yeah, antidote.
Yeah, the antidote one. That was kind of weird.
Spray.
And you didn't find. We actually technically didn't find any herbs, but that doesn't really mean anything. That just kind of. I just assumed that just wasn't placed in there yet.
Yeah. That's
probably gonna come if you had the 80% build. As I said, I think we got to fanboys into Capcom to find this.
Yeah, no, for real. Oh man, I wish.
I think it's the only logical way. But at some point, I think that I'm really surprised that Capcom. I mean, I guess Dead Rising 2 kind of has a similar thing, but I'm surprised they never brought the Elza character just back in, just somehow, some way. I know she's
in like a different game or something.
It almost feels like that character, what you could have done, because like, okay, Claire was in college, Elza was in college. I mean, granted, we're assuming it's kind of the same like character, but they could have been friends in college, and you could have had this thing where you could make almost a cool Resident Evil 2 side story, I guess, similar to like Outbreak or something like that, or even the I mean, not same gameplay as those ones, but you know what I mean? Like how those ones kind of take place during the same time as Resident Evil 2 and 3.
It would have been...
You could have had... Well, this almost could have been interesting when you have the Elza game where it starts off at the college in Raccoon City, and then it kind of goes into other stuff.
Yeah, it would have been cool.
And then by that point, you could use those other elements from the comic books that I was telling you about where they have like the zoo, and she just runs through all the different parts of like Raccoon City that we've never seen. Like,
that'd be
not
cool.
the same places that Jill and Claire ran through, and Leon and so on, and Carlos, but instead she has her own sector of Raccoon City that she's going through during the same time period. You know, maybe have a mixed match of like kind of enemies from like 2, 3, and even pull. You gotta have hunters and stuff.
Yeah, I'm surprised they didn't like do some sort of throwback to her in a later game, like even like Code Veronica. Like maybe instead of emailing Leon, she's like, I have to email my friend Elza.
Yeah, you know, my college roommate or something like that.
Exactly.
Like just tie it in because it makes sense. They're both in the motorcycles and stuff like that. Like, I feel like I'm just kind of surprised they didn't bring that character ever back. Even though Resident Evil loves making up its own. That's what Resident Evil. They love making too many characters. I don't know why they like to do that and stuff. It's like, no. You stick to the core characters that we've had. I don't want any more new characters. You know what I mean? It's like every single Resident Evil game, it's like, gotta add somebody else that we don't care about.
Yeah.
It's like, you know what I mean? Let's keep with it. See, I'll take Elza over any new character that you're gonna put in these games. You know what I mean? No, none of these other guys.
I know, but I don't know. It would have been cool to have them throw back to her at some point, but I mean, oh well. It was cool. It was cool to see her in this. So.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. At some point, I know that these are always those things where it's like, it probably will never happen, but too bad that Capcom can't just go and say, hey, this would make for a cool, in a sense, I feel like it would make for a cool, almost like you treat it sort of like the indie games on PS4. I know it's not an indie game because it's coming from Capcom, but...
Yeah.
It's like, you know what I mean? That's like if EA decided to say like, oh, we're going to start an indie division. It'd be like, okay, you can't call yourself an indie division if you're EA. There's nothing indie about that. But Capcom, like, if they did it sort of like, I'm going to use this for example. You know, like Sonic Mania?
Yeah.
Like we're saying, and they're doing it with Streets of Rage 4, where they're kind of like, hey, here's these throwback style games that we're going to kind of release, and maybe they'll have a physical release and so on. If Capcom did the thing where like, okay, we're going to put together Resident Evil 1.5 back to a fully featured game, but it's going to be old school. It's going to play like a game on the PlayStation era. You know what I mean? It's going to be, you know, you can throw in, if you want to, you can have some of those goofy modern controls for people that like it on, like, you know, they put them on Resident Evil 1, the remake, or the HD one, and Resident Evil 0, and so on. And even I think that Onimusha, that new one that came out, has that too. But you could put all that stuff on there for those kind of people. But at the end of the day, it's camera angles, you know, it's pre-rendered backgrounds, and for, you know, hardcore fans, it's tank controls. And just put together 1.5 as a complete game, but treat it like, make it just look like the really good-looking PlayStation game.
Yeah.
Like, why not? Like, make it like the Sonic Mania style, where the Sonic Mania just looks like a really good-looking Sega CD game. Just do it with Resident Evil 1.5. I mean, I just feel like if this version right here, I mean, granted, it's not like 100% working, but it's still like, you know, we're getting most of the game. You know,
exactly.
We just got to piece together some stuff. And I mean, even if you didn't even do like full-on cutscenes, and you did just like the comic book kind of style, where you just kind of see like, you know, a hand-drawn picture, and then, you know, it slightly pans, and, you know, maybe there's just some text and voiceover or what have you. I feel there's lots of possibilities that you could do with it to bring it back. And it just seems like it wouldn't be that much work to bring this thing to life.
It's just really plugging a bunch of things in, really.
Yeah, and piecing. I mean, granted, I know some programmer might be like, well, yeah, but now it's written in a code that nobody knows anymore, or people don't remember it as much. But still, at the end of the day, I especially feel if you had like whatever version Capcom has sent in there, like how hard would it be just to kind of translate it back in? Just leave it the same. Like whatever you guys were planning on doing, like keep that story like intact. Just keep it like a historical document, you know?
Yeah, that would have been.
I just feel like those are those many things. It's like you could probably put that together you could get a small crew, put that together. It probably wouldn't cost you a whole lot, but you could probably make a bunch of money just right off of it. Make everybody happy. You know what I mean? It's just like it's a win-win. You know, Capcom will make money. You know, the fans can get what they want. If somebody doesn't like it, who cares? If they don't like Resident Evil, they ain't gonna buy it in the first place anyways.
I know, right?
You know what I mean? Like the people that are gonna be pissed off because it's got camera angles and you know, it's like those aren't Resident Evil fans. It's somebody else that wants to play Resident Evil.
I wish, man. That'd be cool. I highly doubt it at this point, but I wish.
Yeah, exactly. You never know, but yeah, something to look forward to. But if you can get your hands on a copy of this, as I said, like the easy way was to sort of you can buy a nice copy off like Etsy that these lovely people put together on there, and then you can have yourself a physical copy. You gotta play it like on a computer or something though. It won't work on the PlayStation because unless you got a modded PlayStation. But if you probably got a modded PlayStation, you probably got other stuff that's going.
It's definitely cool to check out though.
And I really want to just kind of burn that ISO on there and put it on that PlayStation Classic.
Yeah, right.
I don't know if it'll run on there, but it'd be pretty sweet if it did, just to have that version. But yeah, grab that game. I think any hardcore Resident Evil fan needs to try that out.
Yeah, at least check it out and see what they were originally thinking.
It's just one of those ones. It's just like history right there. You know what I mean? It's like you stumbled across like an archaeological find. Really, at the end of the day, that's what it's like. You're like Indiana Jones of the Resident Evil world.
Better than some archaeological finds, if you ask me.
Exactly. Yeah, much better than those. It's the kind that should be in like the history books. But hopefully we'll get more stuff that comes from it. As I said, even the Resident Evil 2 remake would be cool if there was just like maybe some nods to it and/or costumes from it.
I'm hoping.
We'll
see.
And really, what's something I wish that before we tail on any longer, I would love it if somebody would find a way to put that 64 Resident Evil 0 together. I know that exists out there too. I mean, granted, I'm assuming it's probably no longer than the train, but that would be amazing to be able to play that version of it. Just it's no different than this thing, I've tried looking through that throughout time and not there, but I bet you if we stumble into Capcom, if we go over there and fanboys it, we can also find the Resident Evil 0. There's some random cartridge just sitting there. It's like, oh yeah, this is the test version that we showed that footage to you of.
Yeah, I don't know. That's even more astronomical than them doing a 1.5 like put together again.
Yeah, I don't expect them to put the whole thing together, but it'd just be cool if somebody did something like this. The cool kind of like put the beta back together, and then even if it was just a demo, I don't care. Even if I can only play 3 sectors of like the train, I would love it. That's all I care about. Just small things like that. But beyond that, though, we'll find another survival horror. Actually, I guess our next episode will probably be the Resident Evil 2, the remake one. And then past that, then we'll find another classic survival horror that's we're like burning through these Resident Evils.
I know. The Resident Evil 2 remake, it's coming out. So.
Yeah, it's a big deal. So we'll have that, and then other than that, check out oldmanorange.com for more podcasts, comic books, music, movies, and more. We'll have some links in the bottom there that you can support the show. Easy enough that don't cost you anything extra, but helps support us a little bit here. Until then, I'm Spencer Scott Holmes.
And I'm RJ.
We'll see you some other time.